Oh, a bit of grit in the end. There wasn't a whole lot of method when we're going forward. So we made that really hard for us. And I guess we probably, through the third quarter, had plenty of opportunities. And I guess those missed opportunities probably energised them a bit, kept them in the game. And they were good enough to be able to bounce back, and the crowd becomes a factor. So, but I'm just really pleased that the boys have gone to work on, finishing out games, and because we've needed it. So it was really particularly pleasing that we closed out the game the way that we did. And sometimes you've got to win completely different ways, and we found a way. We found a way on the road. We don't underestimate just how big that is when you travel, and then come away with 4 points. We absolutely take that.
Was there anything that you needed to change to get the game back on your terms after they'd taken the lead?
No, not necessarily. Adherence to, I guess what we try to do is we want to be a consistent football team. So, consistency in our method and the way we play. So there was a lot right, and then there was one part that wasn't just going so well for us, and we just couldn't finish as well as what we would have liked to, and so that made it hard to put a gap on GWS. But to their credit, as I said, they kept coming. But I'll always just keep saying you've got to be consistent in what you do, and in the throes of the final minutes, then you can go into some other strategies that can help you win the game. But largely it's sticking at what we need to be able to stick to, no matter the conditions and no matter the scoreboard. And we corrected that. We just made it really hard for ourselves.
And when the Giants had taken the lead, there was an interesting decision from the umpire to award a free kick that Jesse Montlock was able to put away.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with what was the actual free kick for.
It was for dissent,
Okay,
you can tell. I was
right.
going to ask you
no,
take on it was.
because I'm on the interchange now, it's a bit harder to see what it was, and I haven't seen that replay back, so I'll take your word for it at this stage. So I wasn't sure what it was for though. But.
Talking about some of those strategies you do late in the game, sending Cricket down forward when you're from one of the most influential players in midfield, what was the decision making?
No, that was just a rotation. So, and we have to get intensity around the ball for 4 quarters, and that was just when he come on the field, he ended up going deep forward. So that was as much to do with rotations and giving him a rest. He's pretty handy though across the day, wasn't he? He had an amazing game. He just willed himself at every ball. I thought Nick Newman's game was an incredible game. To be able to play against Toby, who we rate really, really highly. He's a very, very good player, and to be able to sort of minimise his influence on the game the way that he did was an exceptional effort from him. So we had a couple of individuals that had some really good days. But we'll look back at the vision, we'll have a look at the roles that we played. Seemed to be that our system was stacking up okay, but when we need to take our turn, we obviously need to make sure we take our opportunities.
Just on Cripps, you had a bit of a head-to-head battle with Tom Green from the Giants. What did you make of that? Was it a bit of a case of him being inspired by the young up-and-comer?
Yeah. I mean, he's a handy player, and he certainly knows how to find the footy himself, doesn't he? So he's going to be around for a very long time. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of tussles over the next few years as well. But we felt we were okay with that contest. We were sort of trying to put some attention into a couple of different players. We weren't probably getting it as good as we wanted in that area, but at the same time, collectively, I guess it takes everyone to be able to win games of footy, and it takes everyone to be able to do the right things at the right time and get their jobs done, and it's even more so when you play away. You have to drive a lot of your own energy when you're on the road, and I felt like we stuck at it for most of the game, and because you stick at it, when it gets tight and tough at the end, and I guess the risk is that you separate from one another. We didn't. We stuck together, we executed the job, and we got it done.
You touched on Nick Newman there. He kept Toby, I think it was to 5 touches, only
Yeah.
1 goal late. How impressed were you by that?
I said it wasn't just a good game. It was a great game. He was awesome. He was awesome. And because there's one thing to have pressure on the ball up the field, but there were periods of time that ball was coming down quick, and no defender wants to find themselves in those situations. And he won some really critical battles. When he was left one-on-one against a very, very good player, so he more than held his own. So no, he was. I couldn't speak highly enough of him. He's had a good couple of weeks, Newey.
Matthew got sucked off, and Blake obviously spent quarter time getting for room. What updates can you give us on those two?
Matty's got a tight hamstring, so to what scale I don't know. We think it's minor, so we'll follow our due process and get that looked at on Monday. Blake had I think he saw a shoulder that he was sort of managing. He got through the game, so I can't imagine there'd be too much of a problem there. But no, we asked a few to step up at different times, and they had to. And Blake even late, had a really big one-on-one on the wing or half forward, half back position and he was able to neutralise it and draw it. And that, you got to win those little battles. You got to draw those battles, and we were able to do that at the right time of the game.
It was a pretty tricky day for the tall forwards and the blustery conditions. I think Harry sort of didn't have much of an impact. Charlie got the late goal as well, but put on the small forwards to kind of try and step up and handle a little bit there.
We had to, and I think the important thing is that they don't have the perfect day that they would probably like, but it's up to us as a footy team to be able to spread the load, and those two get a lot of focus. They'll continue to get a lot of focus. So our other forwards have to threaten. They have to be present on the floor if their opponents get drawn to there. And I thought in the main they were pretty good like that today. They looked really dangerous when the ball went inside 50, and certainly in the first half was scoring quite a fair bit when we were going in there. We weren't necessarily as efficient as we needed to be, but we were certainly getting lots of shots on goal. So the structure of it wasn't too bad. There's probably a few things that we'll have a look at, but it's just nice to walk away from a game and we know that they probably weren't at their best, yet we still got the result. So it shows that we're about system-based, not just talent. And we'll keep rewarding those players that can bring that for us.
How do you think Harry's travelling? I guess he was, like I said, tough conditions today up against Sam Taylor for a lot of
Yeah, no, he's travelling fine. He's doing a few different things. He's not just a stay-at-home forward anymore. He's he's taking his turn up the field, and he's getting important jobs done for us. So no, the boys they've been pretty good down there. They get a lot of attention.
You know how much importance you place on contested ball and pressure. What do you make of Corey Burton's game? I think he had 9 tackles and most on the ground. He was just good in that general area.
Yeah, well, and that's when opponents are coming off to influence another contest, well, they have to be relevant and they have to bring that pressure, and he was able to do that, which was really pleasing. No, he's developing really well. Durds, he's had a really good pre-season. He's had a consistent pre-season. He had a little niggle just towards the back end of it, but he adds a different sort of dynamic for us, and we'll always continue to try and reward and acknowledge the people that bring pressure in our front half, and he absolutely does that for us, and he obviously did that today, which puts us in for a shot to win the game. No worries. Cheers.